we find that Kazakhstan has got a great amount of natural resources. It is in fact the fourth largest. Whereas in terms of trade, you find that we barely have 2 to 2.5 billion worth of trade with them. Modi ji going to these countries in 2015. And thereafter in Shanghai Corporation meeting, once we met and they have taken off with relation to improving the relations with these countries and seeking more interaction for betterment of both ends. And therefore, the future that I look towards it with respect to Indian relations with China, India's relations with Pakistan, and the strategic location of these 5 countries, I think there is a lot that we need to do strategically.
Today also we have Brigadier Jeevan Rajpurohit. He is a scholar, renowned. He is actually a PhD and a doctor in the subjects related to the geopolitical international affairs, and he is a prominent speaker in various forums. So today we have him with us on the discussion. Welcome, Brigadier Rajpurohit.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And thank you, Brigadier Rajpurohit, for being there. So we'll start with Brigadier Rajpurohit to cover the aspects of the important strategic important cooperation and the present situation which has developed and our relationship with these nations, 5 nations, and the future prospect, the vision, how it will unfold. So with these aspects, I'll request Brigadier Rajpurohit to cover up the initial the thought process on the issue. Over to you, Brigadier Rajpurohit.
Jain, sir, thank you so much for inviting me. At the outset, though international affairs is a very passionate subject with me, specifically Central Asian republics, I do not have a great expertise. However, by the general readings and the information that all of us have, I shall attempt to do my bit in giving my fair opinion on the topic. As regards geostrategic location and the relations of India with respect to Central Asian republics, one thing needs to be understood very clearly is that prior to 1991, it was part of erstwhile Soviet Union. And post 1991, all these 5 states that have become independent, they are now touching the western corridors of Eastern Europe. They are touching the corridors, very important corridors of Iran and Afghanistan, which have got, Iran has got the closest sea link to all these 5 countries. To the east, it is China, which is heavily dominating through trade and interactions with these 5 countries. And then, of course, India, that has had olden routes, as you said, Silk Route, and the trades existing in with these countries, 2% of the area more than India. Overall, they have about 27.5 lakh square kilometers of area, and India has got about 32.87 lakh square kilometers. So we are about 22% more than that. And population wise, they are not even 6% of the overall population of India. It is less than UP. All 5 put together are less than Uttar Pradesh. And if we put them in terms of GDP, you will realize that their entire GDP is equal to either Uttar Pradesh or Maharashtra and Gujarat, individually taken. So if entire Central Asian republics were part of India, they would equal to, or they would rank number 1 or number 2 as regards GDP in Indian context. So when you do this territory versus the population ratio versus the growth rate, you find that India, despite having very high population, very high GDP, has got a lot to interact and trade with these countries. And especially if we recognize, we need to understand that Kazakhstan itself, which is the largest, almost 19.6 lakhs million population is there. It is barely equal to the population of Haryana. And it is almost 173rd of total Indian population. Or if I may put it in other terms, it is just to give you a context before we really get into the relations and how we can progress this. We find that Kazakhstan has got a great amount of natural resources. It is, in fact, the fourth largest. Whereas in terms of trade, you find that we barely have 2 to 2.5 billion worth of trade with them. Whereas China has got more than 25 billion worth of trade annually with Kazakhstan. So China is overwhelming by almost 10 to 15%. And if you take overall combined entire Central Asian republics, China trades more than $70 billion worth of annual trade with these countries with respect to about 2.5 or $3 billion dollars worth of trade that we do. So it's a massive disparity. Take the two eastern states, Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan. Tajikistan has got great amount of potential in terms of natural gas. This natural gas, which is there in Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan combined together, can give India almost 270 years plus of the natural gas requirement of our country. Whereas our existence in both these countries is minimal. The number of exchange of people, the number of trades that we have, amount of trade that we have is highly negligible. So there is a lot that we can do with respect to these countries, even with respect to, say, people to people contact. It has all started, I think, with Modi ji going to these countries in 2015. And thereafter in Shanghai Corporation meeting, once we met, and they have taken off with relation to improving the relations with these countries and seeking more interaction for betterment of both ends. And therefore, the future that I look towards it, that we need to be very specific towards these countries. Remember, the southern two countries, Tajikistan and Turkmenistan, they have territories alongside Iran, Afghanistan, part Pakistan, and then China. And China has got a great influence. So if you take the strategic connotation with respect to Indian relations with China, India's relations with Pakistan, and the strategic location of these five countries, I think there is a lot that we need to do strategically in geostrategic terms. With respect to geopolitical and geoeconomic terms, again, the moment you lay emphasis on the geostrategy, the other two will fall into place. And therefore, I foresee a lot of interest from Indian side is required into these regions. Thank you, sir. Over to you.